What the hell is up? We're back with another episode of the Good Time Podcast, presented by Rock Locks. We are here with, I know I've said this a few times, but this is really my motherfucking brother right here. We got Jeeves in the house. Everyone make some noise.
Let's go. What's up,
Yeah,
brother?
thank you guys for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. Jeeves is a guy I consider not only a close friend, but one of my favorite drummers. Total shredder behind the kit. First time I ever saw this dude in real life, he was drum teching for somebody. He didn't know who I was. And I was watching him sound check, and I was like, or line check. And I was like, what is he doing? That's crazy. Yeah, we wanted to bring him on the pod to talk about some different stuff. So, Jeeves, how are you, man?
I'm good, bro. Thank you guys for having me, bro. I don't
Yeah.
normally, well, I haven't really had a chance to do anything like this, but it's a pleasure to do it with my actual homies. And Joe, I know
Yeah.
we're just officially meeting,
Yeah.
but you're my fucking boy too, bro. So
Fact.
Yeah, sweet.
Right back at you.
Yeah. Well, it's
I'm
it's called the Good Time Podcast for a reason. You have great time, but also like this is about having fun, having a good time. Before we get going, everybody head over to Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're gonna have links to follow Jeeves, to follow all of us in the description.
yeah, for anybody not watching, Joe has cauliflower ear and he's deadly. So, or else, you know,
You see
go
a dude
do
with
all, go
cauliflower
do all
ear.
of that.
Yeah, you see a dude with cauliflower ear. You do not. I go, okay. I'm not saying anything to this guy.
That's funny, dude. It's not even from training or doing jujitsu. It's been so many years since I've trained. I honestly don't even know why I have it. Wait, do you have cauliflower ear?
No, I don't. I have like on the back of my left ear a little bit, like some hardened spots, but anytime that I'm training and I feel, when you lay on your pillow and it's like kind of it hurts, it's like bruised, I'll stop training for like a month and let it heal and
Is
yeah,
that
because
how does the cauliflower ear even happen, bro?
I mean it kind of depends, bro. Anything from like the gi, the friction of the gi, but even in no gi, just getting choked out,
Repetitive.
someone's like forearm, triangle choke, their legs and thighs are like rubbing against your ears all gnarly. And yeah, I think it depends on like your grappling style too. If you're like very like diving in, and like getting down
Yeah.
and dirty with your dome. Yeah.
Yeah, wrestlers get it. Rugby players get it. Anywhere where you're getting like hit or rubbing, like wrestlers are
Yeah,
rubbing their
heads
heads.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
We got to
yeah.
get you
I
in
am
there,
not. I gotta get in there, dude. People don't want to see me in the ring, bro.
bro. Yeah, they
ain't
don't want to
ready
see
for that.
those hands, dog. I don't want to see
They don't want. They do not want any part of these hands. uh, to kick this off, how did you get into playing drums? We asked this to everybody who plays drums on the podcast. How did you first get into playing drums?
I mean, well, I'll probably give you a fairly typical answer. Music is kind of like in my family. My dad's a guitarist, and him and his uncles and stuff back in Mexico are all like musicians, and some of them are techs and all, or were back in their days sound engineers and all that. So I've always had it around the house. My dad's like into like rock and all kinds of stuff like old school like Mexican like folk music and all that. And he actually wanted me to play guitar, and he got me a guitar when I was young, maybe like 9 or 10 or something, and I enjoyed it. And we lived next to this guitar center when I was young. Like I could walk to it from our apartment, so I'd go over there and I would jam on the little E drums and whatnot. But I kind of decided I really wanted to play drums. My first concert when I was 12, I saw Ozzy Osbourne and Rob Zombie with
No
my
shit.
pops.
That's sick.
Yeah,
Who was
dude,
playing
it
drums at the time?
uh, Tommy Clufetos was playing drums for Rob Zombie. One of my idols, like the way I play live and stuff, like
Yeah.
I'm jocking him. But and then I don't know who was playing drums for Ozzy Osbourne at the
Yeah.
time. Um,
That's right.
but yeah, Tommy
Zach,
Clufetos.
yeah.
Yeah, Zach Wild was playing.
Zach was on
You
guitar,
know,
yeah.
yeah, what's funny is my only like real vivid memory, two of them from that show, aside from like spending the day with my pops and all that, is Tommy Clufetos doing the big like 4 on the floor thing where he's just slamming and he's on this massive drum riser. They had these big like robots, like people on stilts and whatnot. They had like laser green eyes it was insane, craziest production
Yeah.
I'd seen. I mean, at that time, it blew my mind. but I thought Tommy looked so cool and it was so badass and it was inspiring, you know? And I had already kind of been messing around at Guitar Center and stuff, so I kind of started taking it a little more seriously in terms of going to Guitar Center and I would kind of jam. And I remember one day I was sitting there messing around. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just randomly hitting the
Yeah.
pads and stuff. And I remember these two older guys, or, you know, probably like teenagers or whatever, came up to me. They were like, dude, you're really good. You know, I was just kind of confident, you know, but I wasn't playing anything
Yeah,
of
yeah.
substance at all. But they kind of hyped me up, and I remember going home and telling my dad like I really wanted a drum set and I wanted to play drums. And so for my 13th birthday, he got me my first drum set. It was a sound percussion, like the most
Yeah.
stock,
Oh yeah.
like full drum kit thing. Came with some like low end Pisces, hardware, a throne, 5 piece, two rack toms, a floor tom, and a snare. And yeah, so I got my start out doing that. But I had been telling my dad that I had been practicing at Guitar Center. So he sets up the kit for me. He like tunes it up and whatnot, and he can play a little bit. So he's like, you know, jams around, like plays like the basic rock beat. And he has me sit down. He's like, all right, look, you know, show me something. And I got like kind of nervous, and I was like, I don't know how. And I remember he was like, he just looked at me with his disappointment, dude, and like shook his head and walked upstairs. We were in the basement. He walked upstairs, and I don't think he talked to me for like a few days after after that because he
Oh
spent a
shit.
lot of money that he didn't have, you know, for me to do this. I always had really supportive parents, you know, and as a kid, I wanted to do all kinds of shit, and I did. And so I'd get into some hobby, they'd spend a bunch of money, you know, and then I'd get over it or whatever. And what's funny is really the drums were no different for me at that time, but there was something about the disappointment in my pop's look that kind of fueled me, you know, like
For
I'll
sure.
show you, you know, and so a couple days
Especially because you know
later,
he could whoop your ass. I've seen your dad box, bro.
yeah, yeah,
That shit's crazy.
he was a scary guy. He's a lot more chill now, you know. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so a couple days later, we went down to the basement, and he taught me my first beat, which was doom doom cat doom cat doom cat. That was the first beat I ever learned. And what's funny is I was thinking about this the other day. I still play that beat to this day. That's like my kind of go-to. The first beat I ever learned, I play like a
Oh,
variation,
yeah, variation
obviously
of it.
like a
Yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
advanced
Everybody
version
has
of
Those
it
their.
and
notes.
stuff.
Everybody
Yeah.
has their go-to. That's so interesting. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like my home base, but I usually around that same tempo, kind of like groove when I start jamming.
That's so
But
sick.
yeah, so when I was 13, I kind of I started taking it a little more seriously. That was, you know, my first hobby that I kind of really stuck to for a
So
while.
did you ever take lessons, or did you just kind of start playing in bands? Like we like to
No,
hear about, like, once people get to the pro level of playing. So we're trying to paint a picture here. Like,
yeah, yeah.
at
So
what point did you start playing in bands and all that?
I'll run you through the whole thing. Like, so long story short, at 13 I started playing, and I remember that same year I was on MySpace. So I remember going to it wasn't bulletins, but it was something like classifieds, you know, like a
Yeah,
Craigslist
they had a
version.
board on MySpace. There was like a message board of
Yeah,
some
yeah,
sort. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So people, you know, I was like looking at people that needed a drummer and were trying to start a band or something. So I remember there was this like goth band of like 40-year-old guys, and I hit them up, and they told me I was too young. I was 13, obviously, and I ended up getting in contact with this dude who hit me back, and he was down to jam. His name was Tristan. He was 19. He came down, and basically, he had to convince everyone else because they were like 25, and he was the youngest one. He was 19. He had to convince them to come over to this 13-year-old kid's house,
Wow.
you know, to come and like play drums or whatever. So they showed up, and they liked how I played, so we started jamming, and we kind of formed. That was like my first like local band I was ever in. We played house shows for like maybe a couple years, 2 3 years,
Was this
and
all in
then
Salt Lake City?
yeah,
Was
yeah,
this
yeah, all
somewhere?
in
Yeah.
Salt Lake.
I was gonna ask,
Um,
are you from Salt Lake City?
I was born in East LA in Montebello, California, but
Ah,
my family
okay.
moved to Salt Lake when I was like 4, so I've lived my whole life in Salt Lake. I'm from Salt Lake. Yeah, yeah, I grew
Okay.
up here. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, so I played like, you know, house shows and stuff, and we'd play like shitty bars and whatnot. I'd have to like go in, play, and leave immediately. You know, they would like allow me to play or whatever. And I ended up joining this kind of like deathcore band. I was at the time, you know, when I was like 15, 16, I discovered like grindcore and shit and like really obscure death metal, agoraphobic nosebleed, you know, cephalic carnage and that kind of stuff, and like the
Wow.
really pingy, like hyper fast stuff. Um, and So I joined a band that was kind of along those lines, and so we started playing shows. And I remember around that time, those guys they kept mentioning this dude Pablo, who's you know now a good friend of mine. I think you guys might know him. You know, they mentioned that like they were like, dude, you're the best drummer, but so is Pablo. You guys are like the two
That's so
best.
tight.
I had
From
always
Chelsea
heard about
Grin,
him.
That's so
right?
tight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't in Grin at the time. He had this band called Becoming Everest, and so I was in this band. The band that I was in at the time was called Red Light District, and we played this show. And I'm sitting there warming up, you know, like backstage or whatever. It's like some dingy like warehouse or whatever, like hardcore show kind of spot. And Pablo walks by and he's like, "Oh, warming up the blast," you know, something about blast beats, and we started chopping it up a bit. And so I met him then. I told him, you know, "Oh, dude, I heard a lot about you, whatever." And a few days later, coincidentally, I actually ran into him at a mall, and we exchanged info. And he was like, "Dude, let's play drums sometime." And like a
How
few
old are you
days,
at this point?
16, maybe 15, I think.
Oh shit! I didn't
15
realize
or
you met him that long ago. Wow, that's awesome, bro.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So he hit me up, and I thought he was gonna hit me up to play drums, and he hit me up asking me if I wanted to play drums in his band. I guess he played guitar and all that stuff. So he had this band, Becoming Everest. He wrote all the music, played the drums, wrote the vocals, everything, pretty much everything. And so I played drums in that band. I remember I went to my band and I was like, "Hey, Pablo, that dude you guys have been talking about, we actually connected and he hit me up. He wants me to play drums in his band." And I remember they were like, "Dude, if you're gonna go anywhere with someone, it's gonna be with Pablo." And they like encouraged it, you know. So
That's sick.
I joined that band. We were kind of like the hometown hero, local band, you know. And
Are there? Is Pablo's Mexican too, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the two dopest drummers in Salt Lake City are just like two Mexican kids. Are there a lot of
Goddamn
Mexicans
right.
in Salt Lake City? Is
I
that a
Not
mean,
thing?
Mormon.
relatively yes. For you know,
Okay,
it's mainly yeah, a lot of Mormons, white people and
that's so
stuff. But
tight.
but
Yeah.
yeah, there's you know I'd say Mexicans and Pacific Islanders like Polynesians, like Tongans,
Yeah,
Samoans and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Big
Fire.
population here.
So dope. I love
Um,
Salt Lake City, man. One of my favorite cities. And it's always the city that I tell when people ask me, like when you know when randoms ask you like, "What's your favorite city to play in?" Or like, "Who has the best crowds?" I always say Salt Lake
Salt Lake
City.
goes crazy, bro.
Oh,
They
it's
love they
crazy,
I
bro.
love
was just
rock
there
and
like
metal
2 weeks ago. It was
yeah,
every time we're there, it's popping off for
it
sure.
goes hard, bro. It goes hard. And it's only getting better too, you know. So
And I have good what's the word, like a good test test matter. Like for example, I've played the Complex I think 5 times at this point. I've played the
yeah,
little room twice and the big room 3 times, but with 4 different acts, completely different
yeah,
types of
yeah,
music. And every single, no matter what it was pop music or metal or Hollywood Undead or
yeah.
Daughtry or whatever, all
They
it
love
pops off
music.
every time. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we have really good shows out here.
yeah.
But yeah, dude. So you know I was in that band with him for a while, and I think around the time that I was like 17 or 18, I I was I got hit up on Twitter by this band called Destruction of a King. They were a hardcore band from LA that was like kind of doing stuff, you know, at least bigger than like the local band that I was in. And or they had posted a tweet asking if someone could do this tour with them, and they had maybe 10 responses, just a bunch of people being like, "I can do it," and I responded, but mine was a little different. I was like, "Hey, here's my email. I'll send you guys videos. Hit me up, and I'll get you guys footage and stuff." So they hit me up. I didn't have a rehearsal space at the time, so I went over to a buddy's house that I would jam with every now and then. I set up my drums in his garage, took some videos on my phone. I sent them over, and they told me to come through. So my parents drove me to Chino Hills, California, with my kit full of like a car full of gear to go meet these guys, like full grown adult men that we've never met. They dropped me off in Chino Hills,
Wow.
and that was like that was my first like real kind of like tour. It was pretty DIY and stuff,
Yeah.
but
You drove from Salt. So your parents drove you from Salt Lake City to Chino Hills.
yeah, bro.
Wow.
Hell
Yeah, like
yeah.
a 12-hour drive or something like that, and then dipped straight back. Let me
Wow.
borrow their credit card and stuff. I fucking maxed it out like a douchebag. Um, uh, yeah, bro. But so that was my first kind of taste of like touring and whatnot. And yeah, so I was still in high school. I might be getting like the age, mixed up, but I was somewhere between like 17 and 18. And I had done that tour. I was still in the band, becoming Everest with those guys, and I ended up doing another short run. So my senior year of high school, I was maybe 3 months before graduation. I got hit up by another band called Shining Through from San Diego, and one of my buddies that it was is a producer that used to live here. He had produced them. He told them about me, and he showed them some of my stuff, and they wanted me to play for him. So I remember asking my parents like, "Hey, I have another tour. It's like 2 weeks or whatever," and it was really close to graduation. So my parents were like, "Absolutely not. You have to graduate first, and then you can go do that kind of stuff." And I remember we had like this big argument, and I remember even then I kind of understood, and I told them if I could choose who I could tour with and when, I would already be doing it and I'd already be successful and like making money and all that stuff. But I have to accept these things in order to like get in the game. So
It's wise. It's wise for a 17-year-old. A lot of 17, 18-year-olds who do not think. I thought that way when I was that age, but a lot of people do
yeah,
not.
yeah. So they said no, and I told my buddy, my producer, his name's Bucket. I told Bucket, I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm down." And that night, I like packed up all my stuff. I left like a note on my bed, something like really corny, like "You guys know where I went," or whatever. And I left it on my bed, and I took my shit to my homie's spot. I
I'm
spent the
gonna
night
come
there.
back rich. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So so I go to my buddy Buckets. I spend the night there, and he got me a Greyhound to San Diego, the 17-hour Greyhound. And they had a kit for me there, but I had to take my hardware. I had it in a hockey bag, so no
Hell
wheels or
yeah.
anything, and all my hardware just like lugging it around. This super long Greyhound. I learned all the music on my headphones on the way there. I think it was like 12 songs or something like that. We played South by Southwest. That was like the whole allure of it,
Of
And
course, yeah. You get to drive out to South by
yeah,
Southwest
but
and play in a club.
what's actually crazy though is I can connect every dot of every opportunity that I have gotten to that moment when I did that. And so I dropped out of high school to do it. Not con,
Whoa! You only
I'm
had a
not.
couple. You only had a few months left to graduate.
Yeah, so I had to. To be
So
fair,
did you ever?
I was already pretty behind. No, no, I don't have a degree. No, I
That's
never,
so fire.
never did it. So
Just drums, dog.
yeah. But I'm not saying just for anyone listening, you should not do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So I'll kind of I'll try and rein it in. But I remember in order to drop out, I had to get my teachers to sign a form. I think it was like a majority of them had to say yes, or all of them, or something like that. And I remember half of my teachers were like, "You really shouldn't do this," and they signed it anyway, and they tried to talk me out of it. And the other half were like really encouraging, and like, "Hey, if this is what you want to do," I had like played the talent show earlier that year, and they kind of saw me do the thing, and whatever. So I had some encouraging people, and I was also in like the band class, and I remember I I talked to the music teacher, and I went in his office. I told him about I had this tour. We're playing South by Southwest, and it's like a big opportunity for me. I really want to do it. And he sat there telling me that when he was in high school, he had an opportunity to go play with this band, and he didn't do it. He stayed in school, and they ended up being really successful. And every now and then he wonders, like, man, what if I would have done that? And he told me the story, and then he basically was like, despite that, I would really want you to consider just finishing school. I think it's important, and 100% merit to that. I don't like disagree with it, but at the time, I remember it was like a movie, bro. He was saying this to me, and his voice like faded out, and then my internal voice kicked in, and I'm looking at him, and I was like, I'm not gonna be you in a
Yeah.
chair
Yeah. Yeah.
teaching
Yeah.
band at
Yeah.
a high school
Hell
telling
no.
some kid like I stayed in
Hell
school.
no.
Fuck that.
Having
So
Yeah.
regrets.
Hell no.
yeah, yeah, and I had a bunch of my homies too that were like, "Bro, this is what you've been talking about your whole life. Go do that shit." And so I went
You.
and did that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't mean to cut you off, but like, you know, we're
I
only
can
like
yap,
15.
bro. So please,
No, it's okay.
fucking,
It's
you know,
okay.
yeah.
We're only like 15 episodes into this podcast, and we've talked about this theme already a few times, which is like, I mean, I know I can point to certain specific moments in my life. Joe can too, where you had to make these decisions that at the time you might not have fully understood even what you were doing, but like you said, you know, you can connect the dots from
Every
that
single.
moment to like pretty much anything. But I think what I've said before is like, I think those moments say a lot about where your mind is at. You're not thinking about money. You're not thinking about, oh, because like what a lot of younger drummers do is they're like 21 years old and they're like, well, that gig doesn't pay enough money, so like I'm not gonna go do it. And it's like, bro, you never even got in a van and went and played shows. Like, what are you talking about
Yeah.
The
money?
wrong idea.
No, and you
Yeah,
know what?
yeah,
Here's the thing is that there is a point once you have built the leverage and reputation and
for
career and
sure,
experience and all of
That's
for
that, that
sure,
you can do that. But
for
facts.
sure.
if you're trying to get your foot in the door and like get in the game, you got to like accept all the shit and do everything and meet everyone and be in the
Yeah,
mix and be at every
yeah.
party and every bar and
You,
you know.
they
Yep.
say it takes 5 years to make a business profitable. I would say take that mindset. If you're 17, 16, 17, 18 years old, you want to tour, you want to be 30. I'm 35 now, which is fucking crazy.
I'm
But
31. I'm
you,
31.
yeah, okay. So you want to be in your 30s touring in big bands. Pretend if you're 18 now, pretend you started a business today and dedicate the next 5 years to losing money in hopes that after 5 years from now, maybe you might make a little bit of money. I think it'll
Yeah.
change your whole mindset of like how it works. Also, the commitment, even though it's bad to drop out of high school, like it says something about where your commitment was. And also, I've said this before, but like there's two, how do I say this? There's decisions I've made in my life that I don't regret or really not regret, if that makes any sense. Where I'm like I've missed some of my closest friends' weddings.
Yeah,
I
right,
like
right.
a deep part of me really regrets that. Right? Like one of them's a Navy SEAL, bro, still serving the country. It's like I missed this dude's wedding
You're
and I was gonna be like, yeah,
playing
I
drums
was gonna,
somewhere. Fuck.
yeah, to go play a stupid fucking festival in Washington, like in a local act, like a
Yeah.
2 p.m. festival slot or whatever. It's like,
Those are the sacrifices we make, brother.
I know. And then so I look back at stuff like that and I go, I regret it, but I also don't not regret it because I think it showed where my mindset was at, which is like you have to go all in. If you don't go all
Dedication,
in,
bro.
there's a kid named Jeeves from Salt Lake City who's willing to go all in. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually used to think about that as well, dude. That was kind of my own fuel for practices. I would, dude, it's a massive world. There are so many creative, talented people with drive and perseverance that don't need someone to tell them like you should practice on this or you should develop this skill. They're just doing it because they have the love for it. And I consider myself to be one of those people, but yeah, I would sit there and I would think, okay, well, if there's all these people in the world and each one of us had this same opportunity, why would someone pick me? Uh, so
exactly.
yes, that would be, I would sit there and I would drum for hours and hours and hours
Yeah,
a
because like
day.
typically, I'm curious this because typically we'd ask like, when did you realize you wanted to become a professional drummer and do this for a living? But it sounds like you had that figured out like at a very young age. But did
Dude,
you ever think about something
I
else, or like if drumming didn't
you
pan
know
out?
what's so going back to like me being a kid and my parents supporting all these hobbies and stuff, since I was a kid, dude, everything that I did, I paintballed, I skateboarded, I played soccer, I played the violin, I did karate. Each one of those things, I always told my parents, I'm going to be a professional blank, whatever that thing is. I always pictured myself being like a world champ. I grew up boxing. I did that for a long time, most of my like childhood, and I wanted to be like a pro boxer and stuff. So I always kind of whatever the thing was, pictured like the pinnacle of it,
That's
and me
sick.
being there and stuff,
That's
and
a great
and
mindset.
obviously, yeah, and as a kid, that naivety actually served me very well.
For sure.
Now as an adult, you know, um,
It's hard to be reckless. It's hard to be reckless or not
yeah, I
reckless. It's
mean,
hard. It's hard to be take such massive risks in your 30s, but you can
yeah,
do it when
exactly.
you're a
N-
teenager or early
Not only can
20s.
you not take those types of risks, but the reality is that uh, once you've had a lot of life experience, You know, everyone's had hard times. Everyone's, you know, had times of like cr- crush your self-confidence is crushed, and all the things that you've worked for maybe didn't work out, or a gig that we auditioned for didn't work out, and that was going to change our life, and you know, whatever. Like, so
I've been
as
there,
those
man.
things kind of happen to you, and this is kind of just like a theory of mine, but it kind of instills this like fear in us, and our dialogue, internal dialogue, changes to not I don't have the same type of like reckless belief in myself like I did when I was a teenager.
Same. No, no, no.
And
Same.
but
Yeah.
but had I had those little, that internal voice that is kind of doubtful of myself like I do as an adult, I don't think I would have made it as far, or taken the risk that I did and just went for it and stuff, you know. So I think being young during all that time really helped solidify that as part of my identity, you know.
Hmm.
But to answer the question about the drumming thing, and when I decided that, I think, you know, I said that that's what I was going to be when I was 13, but I don't think I realized the magnitude of it, or what it takes, or all of those things just slowly kind of came together, and I started to
Unfolded.
understand them as I navigated like being in local bands,
What
and you
well,
know.
your first time making any like money on tour was teching, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
And was it
you
teching for
know,
Pablo or was
yeah,
it Luke?
so
Okay.
so I did that South by Southwest thing. I came home, and then when I was 19, maybe like a year after that, Pablo had joined Chelsea Grin, maybe like the year before, like 2012, uh,
Damn.
I believe. And when I was 19, he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, dude, uh, I know that you want to tour and you want to get your foot in the door and all that. I need a drum tech. I can't pay you, but it would be a really good way for you to do all those things, and you'd be helping me out, and you know, we'll make sure we'll take care of you the best that we can and stuff." So I did my first like real tour, like club tour, was I'm looking at the ad mat right now, is Falling in Reverse headlining, Escape the Fate, Chelsea Grand 204, and then a band called Survive This opening. And I remember
Whoa.
the first show was Wiltern Theater in LA. I walked in, I was like
Dang.
supposed to tech, and dude, I was like completely out of my depth. There's all these
I
dudes
had
like
no idea.
all these dudes
Fake
with vests
hands
and
and shit.
radios fucking walking like they know what the fuck they're doing, and wrapping cables and fucking setting shit up, and I was like shaking, you know. And I went up to Pablo and I was like, so like where do I like set up, and he was like, dude, come here, bro. And you know, so everyone showed me the ropes, you know.
Sure.
But I think it's worth mentioning that I wasn't. I was humble enough to know that I didn't know what I was doing, and I asked questions.
For
Um,
sure. Yeah,
and I
you
think that's
have
really
to.
important and maybe valuable for people listening. That like when you get in those things, because here's the thing, dude. Everyone says the whole "fake it till you make it" thing. Sometimes that works, but not in the industry. Okay, in particular with being a tech, you're there to like solve problems and to make sure that nothing goes wrong. There's not like a uh, you don't need an air of mystique to. It's not like being an
No, no,
artist.
no, no,
You
no,
know
no,
what
no,
I
no,
mean?
no.
So for me, um, I think I went pretty far as a tech because I think people saw that I worked hard, but also that I was willing to ask questions. And I would rather ask a dumb question and learn than pretend like I know and then something goes wrong during the show and I don't know how to fix it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? That's like you're gonna get fired, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, so that was my first gig teching was with Chelsea Grin, and then Falling in Reverse ended up taking me out after that. I toured with them for a couple of
Wait,
years
and you
as
tech
a
for
drum tech.
Seaman?
Yeah, for Ryan Seaman.
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
no way.
Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah, so Falling in Reverse took me out, and then we did a direct support tour for Blackville Brides, and then Blackville Brides took me out as their drum tech, so I teched for them for a while. And then I met Luke Holland on Warp Tour. Sorry, I'm looking at the ad mats on
No,
my
you're good.
wall.
You're
No,
good.
it's
I
cool.
have them
Yeah,
kind of like a timeline, you
that's
know, of like
dope.
Yeah.
the first ones to. Um, so I met Luke, Warp Tour. Get this, so Warp Tour 2014. There with Chelsea Grin. Uh, the second day, my appendix burst, and I had to get surgery in San Antonio, Texas, and
Fuck.
Oh my god,
that's a
bro.
perfect
Terrible.
example of what I was just saying. Like that to me at that time in my life, I was like, dude, this is it. I'm gonna meet so many people. I'm gonna finally do it. Everyone's gonna see that I'm how good I am, and how much I practice and all this stuff, and it's gonna change my life and whatever. And I ended up spending that whole summer watching my friends have the best summer of their lives on my phone, crying every day. Like I couldn't get up out of bed because I had like these cuts and stuff on my.
Because it full blown burst. It wasn't just.
Yeah, dude, I was like, dude, I
Oh,
was,
you could that could kill you,
bro,
bro. That could
dude,
kill you.
yeah, I hadn't eaten anything all day, and I was throwing up like massive things of like bile, just like black and like brown. Like,
Oh,
dude, it was like some exorcist shit, bro. It was terrifying.
holy shit.
And yeah, so I got surgery then. So I didn't end up doing that one, but the first Warped Tour I actually did do in its entirety was 2016. That's where I met Luke, a bunch of drummers. It was a great summer, man.
That was a killer summer. That was that the year when DW like endorsed a bunch of Warped Tour guys.
I think that might have been before that, to be honest
Okay.
with you. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I remember we'd have all these like big drum sheds. If I remember correctly, Josh Manuel from Issues, he had this like Roland, like a TD-30 or whatever the kit was at the time. So every night we'd go to his trailer, all the drummers, we'd take turns shedding
Oh,
and
that's
stuff. And
sick.
it was,
That's
dude, it
so
was so
fire.
fun, super fun. Um, and yeah, so after that, I teched for Luke. We did a tour with Polyphia. And then 2017 was my first gig like playing drums. I played for this band called Alluvial.
Wait, wait, hold up, real quick. Pause for 1 second.
Yeah,
The tour you took for Luke with Polyphia.
yeah.
What year was that?
2017 or 16.
Okay, so that's the show I went to. I went before this was Polyphia. You guys played at the
It, wa-
Vera Project in Seattle.
it was it was Jason Covet and Polyphia.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it went to the Vera Project in Seattle. I went to that show and I stood on the balcony. It's like a 200 cap room or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Did you
yeah.
not know
But I
Jeeves
stood on
at
the
that
balcony.
time?
No,
I
I
didn't know
don't think
Jeeves,
so.
but I saw this kid fucking line checking. I was like,
This kid's sick.
why can this drum tech rip? What the
Yeah.
hell?
Well,
And
well, hey, check this out. That actually brings up a
yeah.
good point that I think is, maybe some good insight for people. Um, that was kind of my whole play as a tech was, okay, I'm not here to play. I'm not the artist, but I get to line check and do sound checks before doors and all that stuff. I'm gonna fucking rip
I'm gonna show
and
these
let
motherfuckers.
and cause dude, everyone's setting all their gear up on the dance floor, and when it's your time, like, dude, everyone's look. You know what I mean? Everyone's looking, everyone's there, even if they
Yes,
aren't
especially
looking. They're
because people aren't used to drum techs being like insane drummers. Most drum techs
Yeah.
can play, but not every drum tech
yeah.
can chop or like
Yeah, so that was a
Yeah.
thing. That was a thing that I established pretty early on. I mean, I did it kind of on every tour, and to be fair, a little out of pocket to be just
yeah
shredding like that.
yeah, for sure.
But
Can't get
some
away with it
artists,
on bigger tours, but on tours like
yeah,
that, you can
yeah,
definitely get away with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some artists really liked it and let me rip, and some guys would be like, "Hey, dude, just hit the
Just hit
fucking
the
snare,
drum.
dude." Like, yeah.
Taking my
um,
shine away, dog.
yeah, but it worked in my favor because that was the thing. My whole mentality was at the end of the tour, everyone's gonna remember me. Aside from being a good drummer, a part of being successful is being charismatic, being able to like being social, talking to people, hanging out, going out. Homies are going to get coffee, just like chopping it up,
Join them.
getting to know
Even
people.
if you
Yeah,
don't feel like it, if you're new to touring and you don't feel like going out, go on the coffee hangs. Go on
yeah. I
those
mean,
extra
Establish
hangs.
relationships.
yeah. Now that like I'm sure you're the same. Like now that we've been in the game for a while, like I'm chilling, bro. I'm not really going out and doing much and fucking,
No. You don't need to
Um,
do it anymore. But yes, there's a time and a place to kind of let people know that you're a good hang. Because once people know you can play, it's like, okay, that's cool. But do we want to let them in our van? Do we want to let them in our bandwagon, in our bus?
Yeah,
In our
exactly. I
hotel
mean,
room?
you got to be reliable. You got to be trustworthy. You can't be a fucking weirdo or a creep or all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I ended up 2017. I got hit up by I got hit up by Luke. Pablo hit me up. A bunch of drummers hit me up and told me that they got hit up by this band Alluvial, and that they needed a drummer. And the first show of this tour was in Salt Lake. I'm from Salt Lake, so they all told everyone like, "Hey, hit up
Perfect.
Jeeves." So I get a call from Wes Hauk, the guitarist. I didn't know him at the time. So the tour was Animals as Leaders headlining, Veil of Maya direct support, and Alluvial opening. And the Veil guys also hit me up telling me about it. And long story short, Wes calls me. He's like, "Hey, dude, we had this dude. He had been sending us videos for like 8 months, like that he was dialed in and stuff. We flew him from Australia. I'm not going to name his name, but we flew him from Australia to LA. He blew it at rehearsal. It was like progressive, like death metal shit. It's pretty intense and a lot of odd time signatures and things not repeating and stuff. And they were like, we had to try and show him where the snares were gonna come in and
Oh
stuff. And
boy.
so
Aish.
they ended up like telling him he's fired and they were gonna drop off the tour. But Tosin and Javi from Animals convinced them like, hey, play the tracks for like a week. We'll find somebody. So I was like, dude, I got you, bro, you know? And I hadn't heard the music. I just told him I got it. And so he sends me the music and I was like, dude, what did I do, bro? What did I do? It was intense, but I learned two songs that night. I went and picked them up at the complex, which was like where the tour was starting. I took them to my rehearsal space. We played those two songs. I think like 20 seconds into the first song, they like stopped and they were like, "Dude, you're in," you know. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they taught me a third song. We played three songs the first day, four songs the next, five, and by the end of the week, I had like the whole set and stuff. But that was my first like real gig playing drums on tour. We shared a bus with Animals as leaders. I got to hang out with Garska every day and fucking, you know,
So sick.
pick
I
his
want to throw
brain.
one.
That's
Oh,
tight.
that's so fire. I want to throw one little tidbit of knowledge here for the listeners. When great bands that are hiring you, any band, regardless of genre, most importantly, they want to feel comfortable. And a great drummer knows how to make the room feel good, and your leash will be very long if you are a great drummer. What I mean by that is, like he said, 10, 15 seconds into jamming with this guys for the first time, they knew immediately. They're like, even if he can't play more than half the shit right now, we know he'll get
Exactly.
there
Yeah.
because in 10 seconds we know, oh my god, this guy can play. Obviously,
Yep.
Yeah,
he'll
the
figure it
timing
Oh,
out.
is good.
immediately.
The
Yeah,
timing is
yeah,
good, the pocket's good, the speed is there. It's just it needs to like he needs to
yeah,
learn the song still, but there's
You
like
can
he's in
you
the
can tell
door.
immediately.
Versus
yeah,
yeah, in 10 seconds you can tell if you're pros, if you're or in a touring band and you're used to playing a lot and you're like you can tell in 10 seconds if somebody can do it or not. So
Yeah.
yep.
If I walk into
Honestly,
Guitar Center and I see a kid playing drums, instantly I can tell like
if he's
yeah,
what level
where's
he's
got
this
what
guy
at.
it
at?
takes,
First
yeah,
three notes, you
Yeah.
know?
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, that was my first gig playing, and then I continued to tech for a bit after that. Um, I teched for Set It Off. I teched for I Prevail. I teched for Bullet for My Valentine.
Damn.
You were
Did
just
some
in the
other.
mix at that point. You
Yeah, yeah. I was doing fairly well as a drum tech. I did playback as well. So like running the tracks and all that stuff. Uh, and yeah, and then dude, I mean up until COVID, and then COVID hit, and I remember kind of having this man like a sort of a midlife crisis, you know, where I was
We
like,
were
man, dude,
both I was
I
in
spent all
hell.
my time, I spent
I
all my
was in
time
hell, bro.
teching. You know, what if tours never come back? And what am I gonna tell
Oh,
my grandkids? I pushed a bunch of my favorite bands, not my favorite bands, but like my friends' road cases, you know, or
oh.
whatever.
I hit
Uh,
play on Ableton and polished cymbals while
yeah,
she
yeah,
wasn't playing.
exactly. So I remember being like really bummed out, and I didn't play drums for a long time, and maybe like a year. I was like working construction and stuff, and
yeah.
I remember Tosh the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
I'd been homies with him for a while, and I remember out of nowhere on Instagram I saw him playing drums for MGK, and I was like, oh shit! First of all, like tours are back, or like
Mm-hmm.
shows are kind of coming back or whatever. But second of all, like damn, good for him because he that kid had been doing it for ever, posting
Yeah.
the drum videos every day, bro, every day for years. You know, so highly deserving of it. And I remember hitting him up basically to like congratulate him, but also to be like, hey, dude, like if you need a tech, I would love some work and stuff. And he was like, I'm using MGK's tech, but I'm playing drums for the direct support artist, which is this kid Jaden,
Jaden.
and I was also gonna open for or play drums for the opener Kenny Hoopla, but I decided against that because three is too much. But so they're looking for a drummer. You should hit them up. And I remember I got off the phone and I was like, "Fuck, dude, I haven't played drums in like 9 months or something like that, you know." But I was like, "Fuck it." So I set up my camera. I learned a song, I filmed it, and I sent it their management and stuff, and they hit me back and they were like, dude, we actually just found someone, but the video was cool. Thank you. You know, like we like it, and if we'll consider you if, you know, opportunity comes up or whatever. And I actually wasn't bummed about it, but I had this kind of like epiphany, like,
You
damn.
probably felt good. You're like, all right, I haven't played in 9 months, and I still got a foot in the door here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the epiphany that I had was like, how many phone calls have I not made to my friends and people and stuff to like remind them that I'm in the mix and exist and stuff that could have led to an opportunity? Because Tosh wouldn't have called me, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
not saying like that in a negative way or anything like that,
For
but like
sure.
had I
Sure.
not
You're
hit
just
him
on top
up,
of mind. You
yeah,
always hit
had
up
I
the people
not
that are just right there. Yeah.
exactly, had I not hit him up, that opportunity wouldn't have came up, you know. So I started playing drums again, you know, all the time, and I had this other gig that I had heard of, um, that I took it upon myself to try out for, even though they didn't ask me. I ended up splitting my middle finger uh, down to the bone on my first like audition, trying to like look cool and take like a swing, and I sliced it on my hi-hat.
Oh, I've done
So
that. I have
so
scars on my knuckles from
I've
that.
been there.
Oh,
yeah, so I didn't get that gig obviously, and but yeah, and then I ended up getting hit up by some buddies to play for this band that I ended up being in for a few years, a metalcore band, and I was like an official member of that band for a few years. I did that for a while, and that was like, I guess, how I finally established myself as like a drummer and separated myself from being a tech into like really
because
being an
then
artist.
again for the listeners, this is the point in the career path turn where it's like he knows he can play. He just needed a chance. He gets a gig that's actually touring. Now he's able to post videos and like I'm actually out here playing drums on real tours and I'm ripping. I'm now not a tech anymore. Or you could still tech, obviously. Like you can
Yeah,
always go
yeah,
get tech work, but you can also play for a high level like touring band.
yeah, for sure.
Established yourself right there, for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it was good. It was really good for me. I didn't have the best time during that gig, but it was cool to like, you know, be in a band and do it and do VIP and sign stuff and meet
Sure.
and greets and all that stuff. And just to play, we had a lot of cool tours that we did and whatnot. Um, and I did some tech stuff in between as well. I tech for Falling a couple years ago on that Papa Roach and Hollywood Undead gig
I
where
was,
you were on.
dude. This is all the full circle here is crazy, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
dude,
you
but
were
that's what
tech,
I'm saying, that I can connect every dot from fucking dropping out
crazy.
of like,
Right,
you know, like I can connect every
Who
dot,
you
bro.
who are
right.
you playing with now? Are you in a band right now?
I play for Hollywood Undead, yeah.
Oh, with
Yeah. So
Hollywood Undead. Oh, how
Yeah,
did I
yeah,
yeah.
not
So
know that?
I don't know. I don't know.
What the
So
hell?
that's where the story like fully connects is
yeah. Now I play
Jeeves was a
for
free agent. I
Dude, that
knew he
is
was a
so
free
sick.
agent. I knew he was a free agent, and I was, I was with Undead for a couple of years, and I got a call from Daughtry, and Jeeves was the first person who came to my mind, and I'll tell you why. Because Jeeves has swung a hammer. Jeeves didn't come from money. Jeeves came up the hard way. He came up like the same way I came up, touring in vans, just eating dog shit, like doing it for nothing but the love of the game. And I just know how good of a dude he is and how good of a drummer he is. And I was like, I went to the Undead guys and I was like, look, I got this call that I can't turn down. It's just something I have to say yes to. It's just how it is, and it's something I really want to do. But I got the guy for you. He's a perfect fit for you guys. I know you guys are gonna love him. I know he's gonna love you guys. I just know your personalities, and he's been on that gig for a year now.
yeah,
How's that been going?
dude, it's been fucking awesome, man. It's been
Yeah,
great.
aren't they the best?
Dude, those guys are
That's so
so
fucking
cool,
funny,
and
bro.
yeah, it's funny because I I didn't really know like what to expect, you know. And I had met them briefly before on tour and stuff, you know. Uh, but dude,
It's
yeah,
different
I
when you're
mean,
not in their bus, bro. Because I toured with them. So I was teching for Papa Roach in
yeah,
2022, and Undead was on that tour. I barely interacted with them. I'd kind of see them walking in off their bus. I was like, who are these guys? Like, I don't really know anything about them. I didn't really care or whatever. I didn't know. I just did. I judged a book by its cover incorrectly. Because the
yeah.
second I showed up to rehearsals day one, I was like, whoa, wait a second. These are like the funniest guys I've ever been
Yeah,
around.
they're awesome, bro. It's like, and we mutually said the same thing that like, dude, the first week we were like, dude, it feels like we've been friends for like our whole life, you know?
Yeah,
Like we
100%.
have the same like sense of humor, the same
100%.
like types of friends that they grew up with. I also grew up with similar types of homies and stuff. Like I'm
Yeah.
Mexican, they're all from LA, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Perfect
just
fit.
dude, it's been perfect, bro. And i honestly, man, it's the first time that I've had a gig that I'm like just happy all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been mildly inconvenienced even once. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have a tech. I set up all my shit, but
It
it's
reminds you
great.
that drums are fun, bro. It
Yeah,
reminds you
man.
that drums are
Yeah,
supposed to be
dude.
fun.
And
Yeah,
it's the gig is easy too. The
for
music is
sure. The
simple
parts are
and
easy.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually got hit up last year, the end of last year as well to play. I don't think I can name the band because accepting the gig would have meant signing like an NDA and stuff. We could talk about it after, but I got hit up
Please, yeah, I want to.
by a pretty big like metal band right now. They're not American, I'll just say that. But anyway, I uh, I didn't like officially turn it.
European? A European band or
I
Australian?
if I narrowed it down, it'd be too
Okay, okay,
obvious.
okay.
But
Tell me after. We'll talk after. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I didn't officially turn it down, but I just never hit him back. And I had this kind of thought. I was like, dude, I'm finally in a place where like I love my gig. I have fun. I like look forward to it, and
Mm-hmm.
they pay me more than enough than like what I need to be comfortable and like pay my bills and stuff like that. Even if that other gig paid me more, I still probably wouldn't have done it. Mainly because for me, now that I've been around for long enough, my like mental health, being around people that I like, that I feel like are on the same type of, like they also work hard, they're writing music, they're scheming on the business, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take that kind of risk to go jump in a camp where maybe I don't know everybody, and then it turns out that I might not be that happy even though I'm making more money, like, and I've
100%.
seen it
Yeah.
myself. I've seen it myself. I've, again, not to like name stuff, but like I've been on tours where on paper everyone's making hella bread and successful as fuck or whatever, but everyone's kind of miserable and like quiet all
Yeah.
the time and like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
I've
yeah,
seen it
yeah.
too.
So,
You see it. You see all of it, dude. You see all of
yeah.
it.
So
So,
the gig's good, man. The
yeah.
gig's good.
That's dude. That's so badass. So, um, okay. So here's a question we always ask people: if you weren't playing drums for a living, what would you be doing?
Probably fighting, probably MMA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sick.
Dude, I grew up boxing my whole life since I was 9 to the time I was like 18. And then I did it on and off still like in my 20s and stuff. But I've been doing jujitsu for like 3 years now, since 2021. Fuck, I guess like five now. But I'm a blue belt. Um, but yeah, I mean, being on tour and stuff makes it kind of hard to train as
For
consistently
sure.
as I would like
Yeah.
and getting injured and stuff.
There's a viral video on the internet of you giving Jose the work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're piecing
dude.
them up,
You giving
and
a guy a little three-piece chicken McNuggets.
yeah, absolutely. What the
Tell us
hell
what
happened
did that
there?
guy say? Yeah, what did that guy say to you?
Yeah,
Dude,
what? Yeah,
well,
tell us that story.
yeah, so I was downtown in Salt Lake at my rehearsal space, and I took a break and I walked around the corner to 7-Eleven. I got a gallon of water and two Gatorades. So I had a gallon of water in one hand and my Gatorades in the other. And as I'm walking, I get a text, so I switched the water to the same hand. So I have all my stuff from Sev on one hand and my phone in the other. And I'm walking down the sidewalk, texting, and I look up and this dude's walking like towards me, and I'm in the middle of the sidewalk, so I move out of the way, and I said like, "Oh, sorry, man," and he just kicks every like the gallon of water out of my hand pretty hard and like violently, and we had this moment where we both like it startled me, so I turned around immediately and like we both rubbernecked at each other, and he was mean mugging me all crazy, and I dropped my shit. And I was like, "What's up, dog?" I was like, "What the fuck?" I said all kinds of, I was yelling obscenities at him, but he kind of like, I, I remember asking him, "Do you want me to beat the shit out of you?" Because like I squared up, I pulled my pants up, I was ready to throw hands, but I don't know what this guy's like intentions are, why he did what he did, if he's armed or whatever. So we're far enough, I'm far enough that I'm like, if he pulls something out, I can dip, right? And I was like, "You want me to beat your ass?" And he kind of like gets in like this weird pseudo stance, and he goes, "No." And I had this moment where I was like, okay, well, I can't be like well, don't do that again, and then go grab my shit and walk away. I just punked him. Like, I gotta follow through, you know? So I hit him a few times, you know, I hit him like
Yeah,
four
yeah.
times and I dropped him and then I kicked him in the ass and I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here. And he just got up and like he just got up and like ran away and that was it, dude.
Was he sober or was he fucked up? Like, what
I
was
think he
the?
must have been, yeah, he didn't look like a homeless guy, you know, but I
Yeah,
think he
yeah,
must
yeah.
have been like fucked up or
How
something.
did you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the
yeah.
video?
Oh yeah, I
Dude,
was gonna ask
it
that. Yeah.
happened. It happened right in front of a storage facility.
So you walked in
Like
there and asked for it, basically?
yeah. So I was texting this group chat coincidentally of a bunch of tour friends, like 30 tour friends, and as soon as I did it, I texted them again, and I was like, dude, you guys aren't gonna believe this. I just got in this fight. I whooped this dude's ass, like whatever. And they all know that I like box and stuff, so it's not like an unbelievable story. But that night, I was like, it sounds like bullshit, you know? So I went, but it was in front of a storage facility. I was like, they have to have cameras. So I went down the next day. I like knocked on the thing and the lady like opened the door and I asked her, I was like, hey, do you think I could see your security footage from yesterday around like 3 p.m.? And she was like, oh my God, are you the guy? And I was like, yeah, yeah, no, but you don't understand, you know? And she was like, no, no, I watched the video. Fuck that guy. Come watch it. And so she took me back there and
That's
like
so tight.
That's
played it for
amazing.
me and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Holy shit, dude. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so
So I
yeah,
take
man.
tight.
it you follow UFC too, I take it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What's funny about that video is, dude, I've dedicated my life to like playing drums and content, you know, all that stuff, and that's my best performing video of all time by far.
Don't
Uh,
worry, mine's fake singing Bon Jovi, so
yeah,
it's that one.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I gotta ask you real quick, just about UFC real quick. Who do you
Yeah.
got this weekend, Yuri or Olberg?
Ah, man. I mean, honestly, Yuri, bro, you can't count him out, dude. He has the most like unorthodox fighting style, and
He's so fun to watch.
he has a one punch power. He can knock out anybody if he hits you in the right spot, you know. And he also he kind of has a track record of like he'll be losing and then out of nowhere just throw some
Just win.
stupid ass random haymaker thing like you know with no direction and it connects and yeah probably I think probably Yuri yeah.
So what do you like better then, training or drumming?
You know, what's funny is I've said this to multiple people that for me, it scratches the same itch as learning the drums does, like developing my skills in jujitsu. I think it's
Cool.
like the pattern recognition and stuff. But it's one of those things, okay, like performing on stage. Once the click starts, bro, and the tracks start, I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just
Yeah,
I'm
you're
like not
just
I
there.
go somewhere I'm like a vessel, bro. You know, like I'm not thinking about the show, I'm not looking out into the crowd. And now that I've been at it for like years, and with Hollywood Undead after like playing, you know, like at the end of a
Play a bunch
tour
of
and
shows. Yeah.
I'm like autopilot, then I can kind of like chill and like really take it all in and stuff. But it's one of those things where like once the click starts, like my mind is like I'm locked in, and that's how training feels. Like when you're sparring and boxing or grappling, jujitsu, like the second that starts, is some dude's trying to get his hands on you, you can't think about something, even if you tried. Some dude's trying to, he's got his hands around your neck, and you're trying to grip fight and stuff. Like I'm not thinking about what I'm having for dinner or what I'm anxious about or my life's problems or anything. I'm solving the current problem right now
Yeah.
in the present moment, and that's like what performing feels like for me as well.
That's what a lot
It's,
of people. That's what
it's
a
one of
lot of
those
people
things
say
where
about
all the
fighting.
noise goes away when you're doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And I think,
I
Clear.
yeah,
I have the very. I'm like the very. For me, that's golf, and
hell
because
yeah,
it's golf. I always tell people golf is the other thing I've tried in my life. That's cause I've tried a lot of stuff, but golf is the other thing that's like. It's the only thing
scratches the
I've
itch.
tried that's as hard or arguably harder than drums. It's so hard, and
I swear a lot on my
uh,
golf.
learning the craft is it's the same thing. It's an incredibly steep learning curve. It takes
Yeah,
countless hours to get even decent at it. It's
yeah.
it's
I
probably
mean,
like fighting as well. It probably takes so many hours to even like kind of get
yeah,
a little
dude. I
bit
mean,
good.
dude,
Yeah,
it's one of those things that it takes a lifetime, and you'd never be like you'd continue getting better if you could if you know. There's no pinnacle. You can't. It's like subjective, you know. Um,
sure.
but yeah, it's like learning how to defend myself. I've loved fighting in general. It's like in my blood. I'm Mexican. I grew up. My dad and same thing. Like they were musicians, but they also boxed and stuff. And um, learning how to defend myself and protect my loved ones and whatnot.
For sure.
It's
And
tight.
and and for me, skill development, bro. That's a big thing in my life. I just like learning shit and
Yeah.
seeing it through and following it. That's one thing that I'm pretty good at. I'm not like I'm an extremely ambitious person, but I know how to channel those things into like a specific thing. I'm not like a spread myself thin, and I know a lot of people that like, they get into this hobby and now they're like doing this and they get into another one, and usually
Yeah.
I'm not one of those like master of none type people. I like having my things that I like
Yeah. Me
excel at
too.
and speak to me and I'm
I think a
passionate
lot of
about.
I think a lot of drummers are like that. I remember when I was in high school, there was this kid in my high school, and his mom was like early stages of like momager, and she's like, "Well,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
son's the best musician. He can play 15 instruments." It's like, well, he's not good at any of them. So
yeah, yeah,
he's like slightly above average at all of them. He's
yeah,
not great at any of them. And that's what happens when you try to do too many things. You have to put 10,000, 15,000 hours into one thing to get good at it.
yeah, yeah, for sure, bro.
So, what's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self? We're gonna after this question, we're gonna kind of hit you with some quick hitters to
Yeah,
end
yeah.
the episode here.
Um, I think I would even still tell myself this today is and I guess this will probably resonate with people that do already have something that is like their life's passion and something that gives them purpose and stuff. Um, is Along the way you're going to continue to find out how much you love this, and there's going to
Mm,
be hard moments that are going to feel like insurmountable obstacles. And as long as you continue to keep pushing forward, and that doesn't just mean with any skill or passion that you also want to be like a career, it's way more, it's multifaceted. It doesn't just mean like being good at the skill. You have to have like the network and know the history of it and who's like the big dogs in the game right now and who's hot and who's the new guys and you have to know all that stuff and keep up with it and have those relationships and stuff. But as long as you continue and to and persevere throughout all of those things and pick up where you left off, even if you've had a month of slouching and all that stuff, then good things will happen, man. And it's kind of like a law in my life that like the times that I go play drums all the time for no reason other than just because I love it, things happen and gigs come
mm-hmm.
up and people hit me up and opportunities, doors open, uh, even though I'm not like necessarily seeking them. And I think that just comes with being in alignment in your thoughts, words, and actions. That's like what
Mm-hmm.
manifestation is in my
I'm
eyes.
all about that shit, bro. I
Yeah.
love everything you said right there. That was perfect.
That's tight. All right. Well, let's. Oh, you know what? We didn't cover. This is actually quite. We got to ask this question. This is a good one. Because I think I have this conversation with a lot of people, and I think you're a perfect person to ask this question. But what do you think makes a drummer a professional?
Uh, I think there's multiple things. To me, the things that are distinguishing qualities between like an intermediate and an advanced, like world class professional player, is sound quality, precision, and accuracy. Um, I think those are the things that, if you're a career long musician, those are the things that like when you see someone play in real life, you're like, oh fuck, that dude's he's he's got what it
He's
takes. You know
he's
what I mean? Like
locked.
he's
Yeah.
he's practicing um, because there's all kinds of styles and gospel and Latin and rock and jazz and all these types of things. But in each one of those, the guys that are world class all possess those qualities, which is
They do.
the tone that you get, uh, the accuracy and precision, which just in my opinion is like the pocket, I guess if you will, the sense of time that you have, and yeah, I mean really that's it for me is the sound quality and yeah, the pocket that you got.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What does Jeeves do on a day off from tour?
I mean, dude, it's not exciting.
That's
Here's the
okay.
thing. Here's the thing. If I have 2 days off, then I feel like I actually have a day off. Because
For sure.
typically, if I have one
That's
day
true.
off, then I'm doing like
For sure.
laundry. I'm like catching up on rest. I'm calling my lady, calling my fam or whatever. Maybe playing some video games or something. and mainly just resting. If I have like a 2 days off, then I'll do all the essential stuff like laundry and cleaning myself and all that. And then on the proper day off, probably go take a little walk around, get some nice food. For me, the ultimate luxury is an exquisite meal,
Same.
a
I'm the
nice
same way,
dinner.
bro.
I'll go by myself. I'll order, an appetizer, a fucking big dinner, a dessert, dude. And because I'm 6 years sober from drinking and stuff, so like I don't drink.
Hell yeah.
I smoke weed, but that's it. Um, so that's kind of like my little win and my way of treating myself on tour, you know? Yeah,
Good for
just
you,
That's
bro.
tight.
a nice dinner,
Fucking
brother.
awesome to hear that you decided to stop drinking. It's been 6 years. So many people can't like do that. So I
Yeah,
praise you
dude.
for that, bro. That's
Yeah, I'm
dope.
31. I'm happy that I did it in my mid 20s, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of homies that I know that did it in their 40s and stuff. And but yeah, it was one of the best decisions I ever made, bro. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. What's your absolute favorite part about being on tour?
Uh, the hour a night that I'm performing where I get to be the person that I've always wanted to be my whole fucking life. Um, I think that makes everything worth it. It's like 23 hours, 23
Yeah.
hours of hell for 1 hour of glory, you know?
It's so true.
Yeah, man, when I'm just playing drums live in front of people, there's nothing like it, man. It's a high unlike anything else. I have like adrenaline just thinking about it right now.
Yeah,
My
my
hands are
hands are
getting,
sweating right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me
I
too.
can
bro.
feel
Same
it.
fucking
Yeah.
answer for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's a question I can ask you guys real quick is do you guys get nervous when you perform before you play? I do.
Joe,
Before
Joe,
every
what
show
about
you
you?
ever did.
I still do. I get butterflies no matter how many people are out there. I get anxious and
Yep.
I get a little nervous. Yeah.
Me too, bro.
I get, I get. This last year has like done something to my brain for sure because I've played the most. I've played the most shows in a 12-month period I ever have in my life, and I think it broke something in my head.
You're just
Like
droned out.
I
Yeah.
pushed through the nervous thing somehow. So like I do get nervous from time to time, I will say, especially if we're doing a set where it's like, let's say we've been playing an hour and then we have this one random 90-minute set and we got to put
Yeah,
30
got some
minutes more
songs you
songs
haven't
in
played
there.
in a
It's like,
bit
shit,
and
I haven't played this one in like 6
yep.
months. Like,
Yeah.
let's just, and we're going to run it once at sound check and then rip it tonight in front of people. Sometimes that makes me a little nervous, but I feel like I play better when I'm nervous now.
Me too. Yeah. I
I
think
feel
if I
like when I
didn't feel
have
nervous, something would be wrong, you know?
Yeah.
that's the
Right.
that's the worst feeling is when there's a lot of people in the room and I have no emotion and I'm like,
Those
uh-oh.
times, like, I mean,
What's gonna happen tonight?
yeah, usually one of two
Yeah,
things would happen is like, if either I'm so nervous and I can't get out of my head, then I start fucking stuff up because
totally,
I'm
totally,
anticipating parts and whatnot.
totally.
Or I'm not nervous and I'm way too casual about it and I'll like smoke a joint or something before because I'm like, fuck it, dude, we've been playing these songs and then I'll fuck things up because I'm not locked in.
You know,
Uh,
and
but there's
yeah,
this nice balance usually of those nerves channeling, it's like stepping up to the plate, where I think the things that I'm kind of thinking is like, these people paid money, bro, like I think about
hmm
my dad taking me, spending money he doesn't have so I could have a good experience. And I want to be bigger than life for that hour. I want to
for
give
the
them a
hour.
show and like
Yeah.
and to me, the showmanship aspect of it is actually really, really important aside from being good at playing drums, like looking cool,
For sure.
swinging hard, headbanging
Swinging
on
hard,
time,
yeah.
swinging
Uh-huh.
on time, and stuff like that. Like all that stuff, I think having showmanship as a live drummer under adrenaline and playing clean to a click and all that stuff under those pressures is a skill in itself that you
Totally
can't
is.
develop
Totally is.
unless you do
Yeah.
like what we do.
Totally is, bro. It's something, and thinking back to like the start of our conversation when you said homie from Rob Zombie, when you were a kid, you saw that and you're like, this is like a superhero to
Dude,
me.
if he was just there, like
Oh yeah. No, you're
wouldn't have,
like
it wouldn't have meant anything. But
Yeah.
seeing him just like
seeing him
do his
smash. Yeah,
thing, bro,
yeah.
yeah, man, that's
That's why
the shit.
I tell, man, people don't understand. They're
I
like,
mean,
well, you
that's the
don't have
beauty
to
of like
play.
rock,
Yeah,
of rock and its
rock.
subgenres,
Yeah.
that we can
Yeah.
do that live. You can't
Yes, you
really
can.
jam like that on like a pop gig, or maybe there are gigs where you can, but you
Kind
know
of,
what I
yeah.
mean.
It depends, but like Undead is a perfect example because we've both done it, obviously, and it's like like you said, the material's not hard. So the challenge is, how can I make this as dope as possible? Hit
Exactly.
hard, have fun, be a
Yeah.
showman, and then on that same note, you've probably found this out because you've played a bunch of fast stuff that's really difficult. A lot of times, playing really slow stuff can be hard too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I actually
yeah,
I've made them give me double time clicks for a lot of the
yeah,
I
songs.
oh
do
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I
eighth
always
note
do that.
clicks.
Eighth notes, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, because they
Always
have
do
quarter
yeah.
that.
note clicks, and I'm like, it's too slow, bro. I'm too. When you're nervous and stuff, dude,
It
playing
fucks
slow
It's
up.
is
too.
more of a challenge than playing fast.
A
Yeah.
hunt.
Yeah.
I've convinced the Daughtry camp on a couple songs. There's like two songs where I'm like, we were like running at rehearsal. I was like, guys, they're like,
Yeah,
something feels a little funny. I was like, let's change this to an eighth note click. I promise you it'll
dude,
feel better. And then
I
like
did a death
instantly it
metal
feels
gig.
better.
I
Yeah.
did a death metal gig last year playing for Alluvial again, actually. And their clicks are like every note, every subdivision. So it's like
Oh.
Shit, dude.
like dude, it was brutal, dude. And
Oh,
it puts every mistake under a fucking 100,000x microscope.
Yeah.
Uh,
oh my god.
but for that type of music, like really intense death metal, with a lot of moving parts and stuff like that, like I get it. But it's not my
Yeah.
preferred way of. I also don't like slate tracks like verse two, that like
Yeah, yeah,
corn.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't fuck with that at all. I
Yeah.
like the song title before the song starts. That's it.
Facts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've started to like the cues.
it's
Especially
not.
I'm also, well, here's the thing though. Imagine you got a pop gig, and you were like, I got 2 days to learn these songs. It's a 90-minute
Yeah,
set.
Then they're
yeah,
And
great.
imagine they
fair.
had a 90-minute set on a grid with a bunch of drums out in 3, 2, 1, and like imagine like that to help you out. It
A
would
hundred
really
percent,
help
a
at least
hundred
with
Yeah.
learning the
percent.
song.
Facts.
Yeah,
But when you're comfortable already, it's like it's just
yeah,
annoying,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're on a gig and you guys are changing songs every show or something, like that makes a
Sure,
lot more
sure, sure.
sense. But if it's
Yeah.
the same
Sure.
set list all the time, like I don't need. It's distracting,
Running.
like
It
yeah,
is.
yeah.
What's your least favorite part about touring?
Being away from my lady for
Mm-hmm.
months at a time is pretty tough. I think over the course of touring, especially because I got to do it really young. I'm the oldest of all my siblings of four, so I'd come home from a tour. My little brother's voice got deeper. He's taller. He's got some hairs on his chest. Like so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff like that I miss and have continued. Still miss every now and then. That makes it pretty challenging. Or I would say the times that I've been on a gig where I'm not fond of the people around me. That's actually been when I've been like the most miserable on tour, is when I'm not friends with the people that I'm with. And again, for me, there's no amount of money that you could pay me to like be
I'm
down to
pretty
do
good at
that.
that.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good.
I
I would rather
I'm
make
with
like the minimum that I need to pay my bills with people that I'm like really happy to be around. Um, 'Cause dude, I come home from tours like that, like inspired when I'm having
mm-hmm,
fun, and I'm like hungry
mm-hmm,
to play drums and do more and succeed and take it
mm-hmm.
further. And the tours where I'm around a bunch of busters that are like lazy and not driven, and like dude, it like rubs off on me. And
Can't
then
fuck
I
with
get
that.
ornery and stuff, and then I turn into an asshole, and then it's like now I'm also harshing the vibe, and so um, that's probably my least favorite part, is being around people I don't like, and then also being away from my loved ones.
Cool, man. Well, we'll end on this question. This is just a fun one.
Yeah,
Three
let
dinner.
it.
You got to pick three dinner guests, dead or alive.
Trent Reznor would be
Oh, hell
my
yeah,
number
hell
one.
yeah. Okay.
He's probably
I
my
didn't know you were a
biggest.
Nine Inch Nails guy. That's
That's my
tight.
my favorite band of all time, bro. Yeah,
Sick.
Marilyn
Okay,
Manson
fire.
and Nine Inch Nails are my two favorite bands, and Nine Inch Nails found Manson and all that stuff. And
Right, 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 right.
uh, Trent Reznor would be my number one. Probably Marilyn Manson would be my second. He's also
Sick.
like an
Oh, yeah.
idol of mine. I have like, dude, I was like a freak about him growing up. I have this like book of
That's
all
so
his
tight.
like,
No shit.
all these like pictures of him throughout his career and stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe like Alan Watts, dude.
Hell
Oh, no
yeah.
way. Hell yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah,
Alan
dude.
dude.
Watts. I just like take a bunch of shrooms and let him fucking talk me
Let him
into it, you know?
spit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, bro. Let him cook, you know?
Yeah, dude.
That's
He's
so
great,
tight.
bro. I put on his YouTube videos all the time, like when I'm going to bed and just get inspired.
Yeah,
He's
bro.
awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sometimes we need that kind of stuff, bro. That's the thing too, you know, I guess to kind of leave it on this is like there's a lot of times, especially when you're in a lifelong career type of thing, where like you kind of need external motivation. And
Big time.
ultimately, the discipline and the drive and the perseverance, that has to be something that you develop internally. That is something that you can't be given, you can't buy it. Um, and it's not like you can't have it, but you need to develop it by yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really
Mm-hmm.
big part of being a professional in these like creative fields and stuff like that is like I have the drive to go practice. No one has to tell me that I need to practice and get
Same,
better.
same,
No one has to
same.
tell me I'm a music producer as well. No one has to tell me that I should be here like learning my software better, learning, you know, like sound design and all these things. And um, I think that's like a really big, probably the thing that I would, I guess for me would be cool to leave it off on is in those moments where where you're not feeling motivated and inspired, either like a change of environment, whether that's like the people that you're around or the space that you do it in, um, or consume something that is inspiring like art or motivational speeches and stuff by people that you know are successful and whatnot. But sometimes like those things are enough to give me that little push that I need to like continue forward, you know. And also I'm not like I'm sure that kind of sounds a little like self-righteous, like I'm just dialed
It's
in all the
not. No,
time.
no, not
But
at all. No, 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 no. What you're
I'm
saying, you're describing a real life phenomenon because a lot of people think that if they buy the right course and if they get the right gear and if they,
yeah,
follow the right drummers on the internet and if they like go to enough drum clinics and if they do this and that and then maybe one day I'll finally want to practice. It's like, no, you got
nah,
to fall
bro.
in love with the craft.
Yeah,
Otherwise, none of that shit matters.
yeah. The process of the thing being difficult means that you're making progress, you know,
100%.
and that is what it should be the thing that's giving you the dopamine, you know, like when something's
Mm-hmm.
difficult, the same with drums, you know, like if I'm playing, I'm learning a new lick or a groove or something, those moments where I'm like frustrated and I keep messing it up on the same spot and I have to keep going, that's usually where people get discouraged and then switch back to playing the things that they're good at to feel good about
Mm-hmm.
yourself. But
100%.
that's not how you improve and grow and get better. You have to kind of like suffer, quote unquote, through that, but then find enjoyment in that. It's the same as the gym. It hurts while you're doing it, but like a weekend of being consistent, you see that you've lost a little fucking weight and your biceps are looking kind of juicy and you're like, damn, bro, I got what it takes. It's the same with drums. It's the same with drums, you know,
Yeah,
like
it is.
if you sit and you work on something, and I think that's one of the things I same with like jujitsu and stuff is you can see the progress relatively fast. It's not one of those things where like it's going to take a year for you to finally like see results where dude, if you start today, you spend an hour a day on this one thing, in a week you'll be better. And that in itself is like the fuel to keep going. I know now that I can take another thing and learn this thing and continue to grow and develop it and stuff. And those can be like macro things like how to navigate being a professional drummer in a climate of, you know, like a very saturated industry and stuff, or like a micro thing of like a specific lick or drum pattern that you're trying to learn, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah, I think the drive should be internal and all the other shit, you figure it out and it comes to you as you develop those skills and the right opportunities will show up as long as you're prepared for them and, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Good stuff, dude. Well said,
Well,
man.
dude,
Thank you for
very well
explaining
said.
all that, and thanks for taking time to hop on the pod today, man. It was dope to meet you.
Of course, bro. Yeah, thank you guys for having me, man. Again, I haven't really done anything like it, so I'm really
Hey,
stoked
you
to be
did
able to
great.
do it with some dudes that I respect and admire as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
man,
man,
you
thank
did
you guys.
great. We had a blast. Thanks again for coming on, man. I'm stoked to hear that the Undead gig is going great. I knew it would go great, but it just makes me happy. Like, it's just a perfect match, and yeah, man, it's just awesome. So,
Hell yeah.
all right, everybody, go follow Jeeves. We'll put his links in the description, and make sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube.
Or else Joe will
Follow.
beat you up, dude.
Yeah, Joe's gonna whoop your.
Yeah.
Joe's gonna two piece
No,
you.
Jeeves is gonna have to help me, bro. I got a torn
Yeah.
shoulder. You're gonna have to do all the work.
We'll both beat you up if you don't subscribe.
There you
Or,
go.
yeah.
Yeah, I am not tough, so I'm not gonna pretend I am. So, I'm like I always love that. It's like people I like in every dude has like been walking down the streets like, man, I wish somebody would, but like I've never done that, so I have no
Lighting people
idea.
up. I got that guy. I get that.
I think it's built into your brain, especially when I'm with my girlfriend. Like when you're with somebody, like you just have this like weird. You're constantly like looking around for threats. It's
Yeah,
like built
dude, it's
into your
primal,
DNA.
bro. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
primal. You're
Yeah,
just
dude.
whether or not you want to do it, you're just like, all right, is that guy a threat? Especially in LA.
Oh yeah.
Every
Oh,
time,
yeah.
everywhere I walk in LA, I'm like, do I have? All right, am I gonna have to drop
I gotta
everything I'm
kick this
holding? And
bum's
like,
ass.
Yeah. Bro, yeah. You gotta be ready, dog.
yeah.
Well, cool, man. Thank you guys for having me, man. It's
All
been
right,
fun.
man. Thanks, Jeeves. Love you, bro. It's great to see
Thank
you,
you,
man.
bro.
All
All
right,
right.
yeah, we'll talk later.
We'll talk soon. Peace.
Peace.